All right. I'd like to start out by saying Barak Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Recha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. All right. The name of this one is E uses diversionary tactics. And this is pretty much coming through the inspiration and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And been meditating on this movie for a little while called WAG the Dog. And I had mentioned it to a brother this morning, and he actually found it online. So I was watching some of it, and a thought came to mind to look up a particular term. So that's what I did, and we're gonna look this term up, and I'll read some of it, and pretty much, take the lesson from there. Lord's will, this will be an edifying lesson. Pretty much when you watch this movie WAG the Dog, pretty much what it is, it's all about diversionary tactics. It's all about casting doubt. It's all about pushing the blame off of the individual and pushing it on somebody else. And when you see the way that devils like Vocab Malone or Mark Reiser, John Mark Reiser, Mark John, however the hell his name is, when you see the way that they deal, right, is very deceptive, because the way they come is they'll ask questions, but then when you ask them questions, they'll divert our questions, they'll downplay our questions. They'll say that we're crazy for believing what we believe in. So it's all about trying to make us look bad and diverting the attention from the issue to their agenda. And when you watch this movie WAG the Dog, that's pretty much what it is. The president is accused of, forcing himself a rape or some shit like that, against this girl Scout, whatever the hell they call it. And the job of Robert De Niro and Dustin Hoffman in this movie pretty much is to paint a narrative of some type of diversion that can take the attention off of the president just long enough for him to be reelected, and put the focus of the people on other issues, such as fake wars that they create. And if you ever notice, like when you watch different movies, you'll have actual anchors from CNN or from different news medias, MSNBC, and they're actually in the movie, acting like they do when they report. This shows you that it's all the same shit. The movie V for Vendetta, they brought that out about, that the job of the government is to make up the story. The job of these anchors is pretty much just to report it. And that's what you have. You pretty much have these made up stories that are being brought up to divert the attention from the guilty and put the attention on the citizens, because they're trying to make the Hebrew Israelites a terrorist group. And all they have to do is just put some bullshit on TV, on the news, and it doesn't matter if it's true or not. What matters is the lasting impression that it leaves in the minds of the people. So now in their minds, even though it could come out that was all a hoax, in their minds of the people, it's already in their mind that the Hebrew Israelites are a terrorist group. I knew I didn't join them for a reason. So it's already out there, and that's what Esau does, through these different diversionary tactics. And they keep talking about the victims and actors, of this whole thing. And I remember when they first reported it, I don't remember the Jake being a light-skinned Jake. I mean, the apostles brought that out, and other brothers brought it out. I don't really fully remember that, but I do remember that the chick looked more like a brown-skinned Latina chick, She kind of could have passed for like maybe a Dominican or a darker skin Puerto Rican chick. You know, now the one they got on there looks like Sister Cherry Love. You know, but the one they first had up there, she looked totally different than the one they have up there now. And that's what they do. You know, they keep changing the story. It went from black Hebrew Israelites to the Nation of Islam. Now they found some new information to where they found a phone number that Jake had of this Arab dude. And, you know, so it's just like all kind of spins and bullshit that's going on. And when you watch this movie, they show you pretty much the tactics that Esau uses, which I'm surprised they let this movie come out. They show you the tactics that Esau uses to divert the attention of the people. So now let's get that real quick. Salaki, I know I'm a little long-winded in the intro, but this is what I looked up. I looked up diversionary tactics are just what the term implies. Tactics used to try to detail and silence an argument rather than address it. See? So this is pretty much Vocab Malone's way of dealing, you know, the media and Esau in general. You know, this is how to spot 10 classic diversionary tactics and not get derailed. This is from Daily Life. And I put these in the description box. It says diversionary tactics are just what the term implies. Tactics used to try to derail, silence an argument rather than address it. And they never address the issues. We have to address and prove. And the reason why they have us, they divert and they have us to prove our position, which we do because we're defenders of the gospel, the true defenders of the gospel, by the way, is because they're taking the information that we give them and the scriptures that we give them so that they can in turn put a spin on it. So all the scriptures that we bring out that prove our position through the Spirit and power of Yahweh by Shemal Shai, they take them and try to put another spin to it. Just like example, Deuteronomy 28:68, that no man shall buy you. See, so nobody's going to buy you. So that proves that you are not the Israelites. So that's what they do. They take what we teach and the breakdowns that we teach to flip it around, as they always do, like the Jesuits always do. You know, and that's what the job of the Jesuits is to turn the religions, so-called religions that they infiltrate, to the favor of whatever religion they're a part of, in their case, the Roman Catholic Church. And this pretty much what it is. It's just the Jesuits trying to turn the Hebrew Israelites back to the Jesuit and the Roman Catholic Church, just like they did with ICGJC. You know? So it says, in all fields and settings, and can be particularly frustrating for women in male-dominated environments, whether in meetings or online, who find their points are ignored or not taken seriously. So they, you know, keep in mind, you know, they're bringing in all kind of bullshit into this, but the point is the diversionary tactics. So don't be derailed, as they say, by women and the LGBTQ and all that bullshit. We're just dealing with the diversionary tactics that Esau uses, and there's 10 of them, and you'll see them when you watch Vocab Malone and others. You know, you'll see how they do their thing. And Lord's, I'm gonna read some of these, and then we're gonna get some precepts. Diversion number 1: the false concerned troll. Concerned trolls are well known online, and we know that very well, but they exist offline as well. The false concern is the same regardless of the medium of communication. Any response that begins with "perhaps you should spend less time on X and more time on Y." So if you're focusing on the Amalek are not the Israelites, you know, they'll say, well, the Hebrew Israelites, you know, are not. You know, you so-called blacks and Latinos are not. So it's like a way of diverting attention from the premise, you know, from the subject. It says should set off an alert that diversion 1, aka the false concern troll, may have been triggered. For example, maybe you should spend less time worrying about refugees and more time worrying about poor people born in your own country. The key here is that they do not address your points. Does anything come to mind? Anybody come to mind? Vocab Malone, Mark Reiser, Agent Mark Reiser. They immediately divert to another topic. You see? Often the person using this kind of diversion doesn't really give the other issue they claim is more important any credit either. They just don't want to listen to what you have to say, bottom line. And that's what it is. It's a thing of diversion. Because the people don't want the truth. He doesn't want the truth to come out. They want the lie to remain because it's beneficial for them. And they want to belittle your points or concerns. And that's why they say, you guys are rapists, or this is a ridiculous thing. There was an Edomite on there. Brothers know the video. They've been watching. I believe the Elder Karatazabad did something on it, if I'm not mistaken. Or I saw a video that somebody was sending around about this Edomite that one Edomite came to one camp, and they called them individuals that were dealing with him, them Israelites that were dealing with him, cowards because they didn't want to address his issues. It was a bald-headed Edomite, But the guy, they said, this is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard, and because this is what they're applying. They're applying that diversionary tactic. It says obvious exceptions might include parents, loved ones, bosses, teachers, and academic supervisors who rightly or wrongly might have some credible or well-meaning advice about where you should be directing your energies. Diversion number 2, the one who demeans. Rather than focusing on your argument and acknowledging or criticizing the relevant points about these people in the land of Israel not being the real Jews, the Israelites being the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, reincarnation being in the Bible, slavery coming to those Edomites and other nations that have had their hands, in putting the real nation of Israel in slavery, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians. Those issues or points they don't deal with. It says this person will intentionally use demeaning language to gently and patronizingly suggest you are cute but dumb, nice but undereducated, and so on. And that's what they do. Or since we didn't go to school or college, they try to use that, the ghetto scholarships. Attempting to demean a person instead of criticizing their argument is widely recognized as poor form, bad practice, and very weak. But yet, still in all, vocab in him called himself, Agent Riser called himself what? Apologist. Which the word apologia, goes back to defenders of the gospel. But they don't defend the gospel because they don't know the gospel. Diversion too often feels insulting or like a patronizing pat on the head. That's a good boy. It resembles diversion 3 below, but is generally subtler and less crude. Diversion number 3, but look at you. This diversion often occurs when you are speaking out about a difficult or personal issue that has affected you and others. Case in point, slavery. Now let's get a quick precept, and we're going to get back to this. Let's get a quick precept. Let's go to Exodus. Let's go to the Law 21, and then let's go to the New Testament, so you can see it's in both Old and New. Exodus 21:16. It says, "And he that stealeth a man, which Esau has done, Ishmael has done, Ham has done, the other nations have done, and selleth him, which they all have done, or if he be found in his hand," because we're still found in Esau's hands, "he shall surely be put to death." So this is a penalty for stealing somebody or holding them captive, kidnapping them, putting them into slavery. This is the penalty, death. But they don't want to address that issue. Let's go to Revelation 13. My bad. Let's see. Let's go back. Let's see if I can. Yep. Revelation 13:10. He that leadeth into captivity. What is captivity? Slavery. He that leadeth into captivity shall what? Shall go into captivity. But these issues they don't want to deal with. It says, "He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword." And Esau has done that. The other nations have done that. And they don't want to address those issues. And that's why they don't want to address the issue of reincarnation, even though reincarnation is all throughout the scriptures. Because they figure if they can deny it, they don't have to suffer the consequences that are written in the scriptures. But the Lord got everything covered, man. Romans 3:3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? So just because you don't believe, is that going to make the promise or the prophecies of the Lord not come to pass? It says the Most High forbid. Yea, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar. Why? Because the Most High's word is what's going to stand. And this is why when we're teaching, we should stand on the word. We should teach the word, not personal attacks, none of that other stuff. Teach the word. It says, like the scripture says, so that because they could say nothing bad against you. I can't really think of it right now. If it comes to me, or if I remember the scripture, I'll bring it out, Lord's will. As it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, something along the lines of having no evil thing to speak about you, or something like that. As it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. Why? Because we're standing upon the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So, going back to Romans 13:10, he that killeth, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. What does that mean? But you know what would happen if you bring this out? A diversion. Going into something else. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. What does this mean? And why won't you address this? Unless you're using diversionary tactics, which they are. Here it says, here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And, by process of elimination, you will have to ask, who are the saints? And when we go to the scriptures, the saints are the Israelites. And when you check out the characteristics of the Israelites, it fits us, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, on all levels. So the saints that have been put into captivity, into slavery, and have been killed by the sword, they will be doing the putting into slavery and killing by the sword when the kingdom is established, when the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua brings us into the kingdom. This is the patience and the faith of the saints. For payback. And that's what the Lord said, not to avenge ourselves, because vengeance belongs to the Lord. He's the one that's going to bring the vengeance. But it says he's going to use his people, the Israelites, to bring forth that vengeance. All right, so now let's go back. Let's read that again, diversion number 3. But look at you. This diversion often occurs when you are speaking out about a difficult personal issue that has affected you and others. This critic diverts the discussion by attempting to aggressively shame you. Well, you had black people that put other black people in slavery. You had Aztecs and different of the tribes that were here. They were killing each other, enslaving each other. Yeah, but that doesn't negate what you did. So what if they were doing that? That's something they have to deal with. But what about the shit that you did? By attempting to aggressively shame you, suggesting you self-evidently deserve whatever happened to you. Like Esau says, the so-called black man coming into slavery was the best thing that could happen to you because you were civilized by the great white man. Which they already civilized where they were at. You had all kind of kingdoms throughout. You had different kingdoms over here in the so-called Americas. Great civilizations. Had written records and everything. Had architecture that was built and all of that. Had a working knowledge of the calendar, so on and so forth. So what the fuck you talking about civilizing somebody? We were already fucking civilized. But that's what they do. Let's say you speak about your experience of discrimination, sexual assault, or bullying. The diversion 3 response might sound something like, no wonder, just look at you. You ugly, fat, skinny, cow, slut, etc. Your critic doesn't like you speaking up. And this is what happens. Esau doesn't like us speaking up. Let's go real quick to Amos chapter 5 and verse 10. They hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. And that's the problem. They hate him that rebukes at the gate, and they abhor or they avoid him that speaketh uprightly. Because the word abhor does not mean to hate. It means to avoid. And they abhor him that speaketh uprightly, because the majority of people do not want the truth, because the majority, the world isn't, the whole world lieth in wickedness. So they try to belittle your appearance, size, weight, alleged sexual history, and so on. Diversion 4. But what about the Middle East? See? So now you're dealing with a situation here, right? About how Esau put Jacob into slavery and the other tribes. Then they'll say, well, the Arabs did it, the Africans did it. So yeah, but what about you? When are you gonna take responsibility for the shit that you did? Never mind them, they're gonna be dealt with. What about you? And that's what Esau does. He tries to deflect everything away from him, like he's so innocent. Say you present information on violent attacks against LGBT, which is bullshit. But like I said, don't think about this. Think about the tactic, the diversionary tactic that they use. People in your community, one diversionary response is, you think gays have it bad here? What about in the Middle East? Which, that's, like I said, this is bullshit. But pretty much what they do is they try to say, okay, well, you really don't got it that bad here. Look at over there in them different countries where they really got it bad. It says, what about in the Middle East? This tactic is frequently used to divert discussions about various freedoms or social or safety issues impacting women, children, LGBT people, sex workers, people with a disability, racial minorities, and so on. And this is the main point we're dealing with, the racial minorities and the shit that they doing. And really, we are the majority. They say that we're the minority. We're not the minority. We outnumber these devils. So we are the majority. But the minority, they meaning like the looked down upon, the downtrodden, insignificant, when they're the ones that's really insignificant. The basic argument is that nothing needs to be done at home because things are worse elsewhere. People are being bashed. Well, they are being murdered somewhere else. Women are raped and murdered here. It's worse somewhere else. It aims to shut down an uncomfortable topic by pointing the finger elsewhere. And this is what Vocab or Agent Riser and the rest of them devils do. To another country or culture, or even to a former time when things were harder. This does nothing to solve the issue at hand and serves only to push away any sense of there being a real and immediate problem. Don't be diverted. Problems at home and in the here and now matter too. So pretty much, we have to stay focused on what? On the scriptures and not be diverted. And that's what happens when you do these so-called interviews. That's why we don't do no interviews, because everything is a diversionary tactic. They're trained in how to talk to people. You have to remember, these people do not care about what we teach. All they care is about trying to make us look bad, trying to act like they're addressing the issue when they're not. Diversion number 5. I'll read this and then you brothers can read the rest, and I'm gonna hit some precept after this. Diversion 5. Textbook diversions, or what about men? This is a textbook first reply diversion along the lines of diversion 4, in which the responder attempts to change the subject immediately. Like when you bring up reincarnation, or when you bring up slavery, and seeing that they can't deny that slavery actually happened, what do? Well, Deuteronomy 28:6-8 means that nobody shall buy you, so that proves that doesn't apply to you. When they have no clue what that means. That pretty much means that no man will be able to save you. There was no man that rose up, because Yahushua already did that 2,000 years ago, and he's coming back. He says he's not going to meet Esau as a man. So when Yahushua comes back, he's coming to redeem the purchased possession. No one has been able to do that. Many so-called leaders tried, whether they were sincere or whether they were fake. And nobody is able to get us out of the condition that we're in. We're still in the same condition. Ain't nothing changed but the weather and the time. For example, let's say you talk about reports of high rates of domestic abuse against a particular demographic, women. The diversionary response is, what about men? It's not that this question should not be raised. It should rather, this question demands immediate discussion of a different topic, which is what makes it a textbook diversion. And they have their textbook diversions. You have these media people, these politicians, they're trained on how to speak. And when you watch this movie, Wag the Dog, they show you that. Like this guy, Dustin Hoffman, which played the producer, he spoke to De Niro. He asked him, how close are you to this thing? And they were reporting in the news. And they show you how behind the scenes, these discussions and these questions are being put together. And they show you how the president and different spokespeople go before the press and start talking to the press. And they show you how the press is connected with the president and the speakers and all of that. Because he said, look, tell him to say so and so and such. And immediately the guy that was speaking says so and so and such. And then the reporters that were in there that were asking questions that were pre-written by this individual here, raising questions about wars and about rumors that had nothing to do with the issue of the president. These are all diversionary tactics. It says this tactic is frequently used to divert discussion of gendered patterns and violence. In this case, in the case that we're speaking about, is to divert attention from reincarnation, to divert attention from slavery and the paybacks of slavery. It says, as many feminists and advocates are well aware, the fact that anyone with an intimate partner can be the victim of domestic violence does not mean that the strikingly gendered patterns of domestic violence should be ignored. In fact, without analyzing the existing patterns, we can't put in place a response, let alone solutions. Now, this is just dealing with that particular thing. What we're dealing with, the Israelite issue of who are the real Israelites and what about slavery? What about the land theft of America, of the so-called Native American Indians, Native American Indians, the tribes of Gad, the tribes of Reuben, the tribe of Gad, the tribe of Reuben, and the tribe of Issachar, whom North America belonged to. The so-called North American Indians, Seminole Indians, and Mexican Indians, so-called. Not dealing with Canada and Central America, South America. We're dealing with North America right now. When are those issues going to be dealt with? When are those issues going to be talked about? When are those issues going to be raised? They're not. And if they are raised, guess what? They're going to be put back down. And this is why the power of heaven, Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai, are coming back to set the record straight. Which they're setting the record straight now, and then they're coming to bring the judgment and the punishment. They're coming to bring the pain. Now let's go to Psalms 10 and 1. Why standest thou far off, O Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? Because these are times of trouble, and they're going to get worse. And these devils do not want to address the issues of what they've done. They want to sweep it under the rug, but everybody else gets reparations. Everybody else gets condolences. Everybody else gets whatever they get from these devils. Them Amalekites over there in the land of Israel, they still benefiting off so-called Holocaust. I know they're going to clip this video, but hey, this channel might be done. Salaki brothers, but hey, whatever, man. You know? Here it is, they get billions of dollars every year. And they're constantly, nobody attacks them, but they're constantly crying how they're being attacked on all sides. But you know why? You know why they do that? Because they have to do that in order to keep that machine going, in order to justify that inflated budget. They have to have the appearance of things. They have to go so far as to do that. See, Jake don't have to do that. The cops will come and shoot so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native American Indians, and that doesn't have to be staged. It happens on the regular because that is a part of the curses. They have to make things happen. They have to have their women shave their head bald and wear wigs to try to fit the scriptures. And they're constantly doing this. It says, the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. And this is what's happening. They're persecuting the poor, the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians through their pride. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined, because they have imagined a lot of different things that they've put as traps for Jake to fall in. You know? And Jake is falling right into them traps. A lot of them are falling right into those traps. The only ones that are able to step around them are the elect. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blessed the covetous whom the Lord abhorreth. So the Most High, they do everything contrary to what the Most High does. And they're still prospering. And this is why they believe in that demonic mind of theirs, that little pea brain that they have, that the Most High is with them. No, the Lord is allowing you to do these things, to bring forth your judgment later. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts. They don't think about the Most High. The Most High is not in their thoughts. They're not thinking about going into the scriptures and teaching lessons on righteousness. Their whole thing is about ripping people off, man. The wicked, I read that already. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. Yeah. And the judgments of the Most High are far above their sight. It's far above Esau's sight, the wicked, and the other nations. All their only concern is about what? About money. About prospering. So lock it for a minute. Salaki, brothers. He have said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. And they never think that they're going down. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. And that's why you want to know when he's lying, every time his mouth is running, he's lying. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages, in the secret places of the murder of the innocent, because he's setting up all these different traps for people to fall into. He's pushing everything to go into a cashless society. He's pushing everything to be biometrically set up so that he can have the ability to easily push that chip. It says, his eyes are privily set against the poor, and that's what he's doing. Behind closed doors, his eyes are privily or privately set against the poor. But in the public's eye, he tries to make it like a benevolent thing. But when you really scrutinize what he's really doing behind the scenes, he's trying to figure out ways to destroy Jake through the foods, through the bad liquor that they push into the cities, so on and so forth. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. And that's what's happening. You know, he's drawing Jake into this net. And there's a lot of people that's falling for the okie doke. A lot of Jakes that's falling for this. He croucheth and humbleth himself. Yeah, he comes with smooth words. That the poor may fall by his strong ones. And what are his strong ones? His military, his police force, riot police, FEMA troops, so on and so forth. That's why now they got a new special task force just for dealing with so-called black extremists. You know? He has said in his heart, the Most High hath forgotten, he hideth his face, he will never see it. So they thinking that the Most High is never going to hold them accountable and make them pay for all the crimes that they committed. Arise, O Lord, O power, lift up thine hand, forget not the humble. Wherefore doth the wicked contemn the Most High? He hath said in his heart, thou wilt not require it. And they think that they'll never have to pay for that. Thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief and spite, to requite it with thy hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. Break thou the arms of the wicked and the evil man. Seek out his wickedness till thou find none. All right. The Lord is king forever and ever. The heathens are perished out of his land. And there's going to come a time when all those heathens that are in the land of Israel are going to be pushed out of there. Lord, thou hast heard the desire of the humble. Thou wilt prepare their heart. Thou wilt cause thine ear to hear, to judge the fatherless and the oppressed, that the man of the earth may no more oppress. And that's what's happening, man. Esau is constantly oppressing. And that's how you know that the wicked are in rulership. Because they're constantly oppressing people. The people of the world, for the most part, are in a mourning state. They're not in a cheerful state. Because there's always the woes of bills. There's always the woes of the world, things that are going on. Pedophiles and homosexuals and lesbians, you know, and all kind of madness going on. Kidnappings and children's sacrifices and pedophilia, and I mean all type of demonic activity going on. And the people as a whole are mourning. Why? Because the people that are in charge, that are in control of this world, are wicked. They're not righteous. Let's go to Psalms 37:1, a psalm of David. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. Why? Because in process of time, the Most High is going to take them down. See, what's happening right now is Esau built his case against Jake. He's doing certain things to be able to come against mainly the Hebrew Israelites. But the Most High already built his case against Esau. And the Lord is just waiting for the right time to bring him down and then to give him an exact judgment from him. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. And that's what's going to happen to them. Trust in the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Shai and do good. So shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. And this is what we're waiting for, to be brought back to our land. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Shai, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. And this is all wicked devices that they're bringing to pass. You know, this blatant homosexual agenda that they're pushing. That in every goddamn movie damn near now, and every series you watch, there's got to be some kind of, even if it's not dealing with that issue. It could be it could be drug dealing issue. It could be a gang issue. They always have to push. It could be a hip hop issue. They always have to push that homosexual agenda in there. Those are wicked devices, man. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil. Because at the end of the day, we're waiting on the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Shai to do his thing. We ain't going to do nothing. But you have some that are that are trying to push the hand of the Lord. Guess what? They're going to get steamrolled over. An inside joke, but it's true. For evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. See? And if you go against, if you try to take Esau down on your own, you're doing evil, man. We gotta wait on the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Shai. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. And if we get a chance, if we have time, I got Job 20 on deck, so we could go through that also. Because they're going to disappear. The candle of the wicked shall be put out, man. That demonic light is not going to continue to shine forever. It's waxing dimmer and dimmer every day. And this is why they're mounting, you know, their propaganda machine against the Hebrew Israelites, because we are the major threat outside of these different alternative media, the alternative media that didn't sell out. You know, we are the major threat to them. Salakia. So like I had to take a big swig out of this water. So that's why they're doing that. It says, but the meek shall inherit the earth and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. See? And they're plotting. They're constantly plotting. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. And the Most High already sees that this devil, you have an expiration date. You know? And the Lord sees that. And eventually you will be taken down when the time comes. The wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy and to slay such as be of upright conversation. And this is why they don't want to address any of the real issues concerning the scriptures. Because they already have an agenda. That's why they got devils like Agent Reiser, Mark Reiser to come against this thing. He's talking about he's the expert, whatever, in the Hebrewism. You don't know shit, man. You don't know a goddamn thing. Goddamn agent. They're desperate to have to hire somebody like Vocab. Their sword, or should I say, Agent Mark Reiser. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bow shall be broken, because your enterprise is not going to prosper. It's going to fail, as it states in Job the 5th chapter. A little that a righteous man hath is better than the riches of many wicked. Why? Because the riches that they got by deceit. And eventually those riches will be transferred or translated over to us, the Israelites. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholdeth the righteous. So their power is going to be broken, but the Lord is going to uphold the righteous. So you mounting up this attack against the Israelites, but the Lord is going to stand up for us. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs that shall consume, and to smoke shall they consume away. So you're going to melt. Just like you take lambs and all that, you take the fat and all in the different parts of the lamb, and you throw them in the fire, and that fat disappears. It melts. That's how you're going to melt in this destruction. But those of you that are a part of the elite are going to make it, because you're going to be the first crop of slaves. The kings and the princes that are considered to be, which they're not kings and princes, but they're in that position right now. Afterward, they will be brought down to pauper status, which is their proper place. The wicked borroweth and payeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. And this is what we're waiting for. Your cutoff, man, your expiration date. The clock is ticking, E. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. I have been young, and now am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. He is ever merciful and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil and do good, and dwell for evermore. For the Lord loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever. But the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. So you're going to be cut off. You're not going to be able, once your empire is destroyed, America, Babylon the Great, when the Heavenly Father destroys this place and the land of Israel, and your rule is put down, you will never rise again. You'll just go into captivity for the time that you have to go into captivity for, and after that period of your captivity, you will be grounded up and burnt up, and you will not have any remnant left to start anything again, because you, the wicked, were set up by the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua and tailor-made as the wicked to be destroyed, to show the world what it is to be wicked, and then for the Lord to show the reward of what it is to be wicked when your kingdom is brought down. The righteous shall inherit the land and dwell therein forever. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of the Most High is in his heart, none of his steps shall slide. The wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. And this is what's happening. And this is why they got all these false narratives and all these false, all these slanders going on. You know, and the story just keeps changing. They keep adding to the story. If you watch this movie, Wag the Dog, I'm telling you, when you watch this movie, Wag the Dog, it shows you all those diversionary tactics. And they're sitting there bouncing ideas back up off each other, you know, and then there's a no, we don't, yeah, that's good, that's excellent, good, that's real good, that's real good. And they'll add it to the script, and as the movie progresses, you see the script that they put together in secret coming to light in, you know, a movie that they're putting together in the media and the things that they're addressing, all done in the name of getting the focus taken off of the president. Diversionary tactics. Hence, diversionary tactics. The Lord will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. Why? Because this devil is unmerciful. But through the Lord Yahweh Shemel shall we find tender mercies. Wait on the Lord and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. Psalms 91, only with thine eyes shall I see and behold the reward of the wicked. I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree, right? Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but I could not. He could not be found. All right, let's get a couple of precepts on that. Oh, Lord. Psalms 92 and 4. For thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the works of thine hands. O Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth a fool understand this. When the wicked spring as a grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. Matter of fact, another precept came to mind. Let me get that real quick. And it ain't hard to tell who the wicked are. Scriptures tell us that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Let's see if I can find this. Job chapter 27, verse 13. This is the portion of a wicked man from the Most High, and the heritage of oppressors, which they shall receive of the who? The Almighty. Not somebody going to some goddamn gun range and all that bullshit. If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widow shall not weep. Though he heap up silver as the dust, and prepare raiment as the day, he may prepare it, but the just shall put it on, and the innocent shall divide the silver. Beautiful, man. He buildeth his house as a moth, and as a booth that the keeper maketh. The rich man shall lie down, but he shall not be gathered. He openeth eyes, and he is not. Terrors take hold on him as waters. A tempest stealeth him away in the night. Can you imagine that? These devils, they're going from that lofty state that they're in, from that being able to go anywhere in the world, buy anything that you want, eat anything that you want, have this freedom, living it up. I mean, just having the time of your life, to going down to straight up pauper status, being beat over the head, being put into captivity, into slavery, not being able to go and come as you please. That's going to be something, man. All right, let's get one more. Job 20 and 4. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, which they did when they went up to the space station, but also they've been exalted as a nation. Yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They shall have they which have seen him shall say, where is he? Because he's going to be gone. He shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. He's going to be gone. It's going to be like a bad nightmare. Like it tells us, and I believe it's Psalms 126. The eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him, because he's going to lose his position. He's going to lose his status. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. And they're going to restore the goods. They're going to seek to please the poor. They're going to find out whatever they could do to try to please us. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust, because he's going to be destroyed. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. All right, so going back to Psalms, let me just bring this over here. Psalms 92:7. When the wicked spring as a grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Lord, art most high forevermore. For lo, thine enemies, O Lord, for lo, thine enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shalt thou exalt like the horn of a unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see my desire on mine enemies. And mine ears shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. So don't worry. No, the Lord is going to do for us. The Lord is going to destroy these devils. He's going to avenge us, man. And that's what we're waiting for. And this is what scares these devils, that we have that faith that the Lord is going to do these things for us. Because that's our only hope. And they're hoping that we're wrong, but we're not wrong. And they will see in due time. They will see in due time that these things that we're speaking about are not just words and just things that we made up in the basement somewhere. These are things that are written in the book that the Lord revealed to us, men that didn't go to college to learn these things. Men that were inspired through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Rakakwadash to teach these things. Just like they said about Yahushai, how know this man led us never having learned. They said about the disciples that they believed them to be unlearned and ignorant men. Why? Because they didn't go through the so-called proper channels to learn what they learned. But the things that they learned were things that were beneficial to the spirit, the things, the deepest secrets of the Most High Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushai. Mark, let's go back to Psalms 37:36. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together, the end of the wicked shall be cut off. But the salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in the time of trouble. And we're going to need the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, especially when shit gets really bad. I mean, we need him now. We need him every day, but especially when things get bad. And the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him. So the Lord is going to deliver us from the wicked, not no man. That's why it says that no man shall buy you. Another part in Deuteronomy 28 says no man shall save thee. I believe it's 2 or 3 times in the curses, just written in different forms, but all saying the same exact thing. You know? Let's see what else we have. You know what? Let's see. Just bear with me 1 second. Just bear with me 1 second. Let's go from there to the book of, is that 2 Peter chapter 2. Right, 2 Peter 2:9, and we'll close out on this. The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. And this is why Yahushua gave the disciples that prayer of the Our Father prayer, which covers everything that we need for protection and everything. Protection, food on our table, being taken care of. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness and despise government. Presumptuous are they, self-willed, they are not afraid to speak evil of dignities, which is going into something else. But the point is, the Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. Let me see. There's a scripture, just bear with me. I'm not sure if it's Job. This is a good one, but this is not what I was looking for. But Sirach 10:14. The Lord has cast down the thrones of proud princes, and set up the meek in their stead. I can't really think of how it's worded, but pretty much along the lines where the Lord is gonna so I can't even frame it into words, but pretty much, the Lord is gonna deliver the righteous and pretty much destroy the wicked, in their stead, in the stead of the righteous. But I can't think of how it's worded. If I could, then I'd be able to find it, but I can't even form it in my mind to go on Google to try to, oh man, Proverbs 11:8. The righteous is delivered out of trouble, and the wicked cometh in his stead. That's it. Hey, so that's it right there. All right, so with that, pretty much could close on that. The point is pretty much made. This has been E uses diversionary tactics, and I put those in the description box. This is, where is it? This is, 10, how to spot 10 classic diversionary tactics and not get derailed. And like I said, forget about the woman thing and the LGBTQ. Just apply it to the scriptures. Apply it to what we're dealing with, the situations we're dealing with, slavery and the deaths and the murders and all that, and the things that we deal with in the scriptures. And you could apply these same principles to that, because this is what Esau does. This is just what they call a boilerplate, way that they divert people from to make their point. Number 6 is do something about it. Number 7 is if you can't do everything, do nothing. Number 8, I challenge you to explain everything. Number 9, who do you think you are? Shame on you. How dare you? And that's what Esau looking at us. How dare you? You niggas and spicks. How dare you? Bring up any of this to our face. Do you know who we are? The old switcheroo, and that's what they do. That's what they do. That's what the devil does. All right, so with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified. Until the next time I say shalom. Just bear with me 1 second. Let's go from there to the book of, is that 2 Peter chapter 2?